So I'm just making a little video here to show how to find a switched power source on the Lexus SC300. This is probably the same for the SC400 and maybe even a lot of other Lexus models. This particular car is a 1999 Lexus SC300, and I'm installing some Mishimoto electric fans on it, and each fan has just two wires. It's just 12 volt DC fans, so blue is positive, black is ground. And what I want to do is install an electric controller. So I made a little kind of makeshift controller with an Arduino and a couple relays. This is so I can test it out and kind of play with some different control logic. So I've got two temperature sensors, so redundant temperature sensors, and one relay for each fan. So the idea is start one fan after the car has been running for about a minute, or if the temperature is already above a certain threshold, I'm just doing 150 F to start with, and then the other one will kick on when I go to when it gets up to 200 F. But anyway, so for that I need a power source for the fans and a power source for the controller. The controller only pulls it's something small, like 50 milliamps when it's powered on. But the fans each pull, I measured about 6 amps continuous, and I think they can pull up to around 10 amps when they first start up. So anyway, I looked all through the fuse box and checked just about everything in here for a switched power source, because I'm looking for something that only powers on when the key in the ignition is turned to on. And it actually turns out that pretty much everything in the fuse box is already powered without the key to on, at least from what I found, and also from looking around on forums. So I found that this wire down here, which I believe is the ignition power source, or at least it's the harness that goes to the engine, and then that splits off to a few other components. So it may just be a general power cable. So you got the black with red stripe, and then the other black is just solid black is ground. The one with the red stripe is your 12 volt switched power. And I tested it by measuring with power switched on the ignition, and then power switched off, and sure enough, it turns off with the ignition off. So I'm gonna tee into that. I'm gonna break into this harness here and use some solder connectors, or maybe just attach a wire T in there and then solder it up and insulate it myself. But then I don't want to pull too much power off this, so I'm gonna go ahead and set up another independent power source. And I don't like having a bunch of cables going to my battery. So if you follow the positive terminal and this cable going back up to the fuse box here, that goes down in here, and then that goes right up here. So that's your main positive bus, I guess you'd call it. So I'm gonna use that. I've just got a ring terminal on there, and I'm gonna set up my own little 12 volt power source, put a fuse on this, so if it does short out, it's not gonna catch my car on fire. And then, so I should be able to pull quite a bit of power off that one, but I'm gonna have to put it all on a relay. You can't have things just always running off of this, otherwise it's gonna kill your battery. So again, that takes me back to these relays. These two relays, they're about, I think it was like $8 on Amazon, and these are made for running with an Arduino. You can also buy like solid state relays or whatever you need for not too bad. I think you can find a pretty decent relay for under $20. And then you can control the relay with the switched power source. So there you go. That's what I've figured out after doing a few hours of research. I hope this helps somebody. It was kind of a pain because not only did I take the cover off, but I took off these couple of bolts and pulled this all out, and I was looking at all the wires back there, pulling out fuses, metering from both sides of the fuse to figure out which one was the power side, or the source side, whatever. and then reading from there down to my negative battery terminal. And like I said, it turns out pretty much all of them, or all of them that I saw, were in fact live with the ignition turned off, which is not helpful. So there you go. Once again, it's this cable here. It runs from over here, and it goes down into the wall there. So yeah, there's a switched power source. It's pretty beefy. I think that's 10 gauge wire is what it looks like. So it can definitely handle some current. I would advise doing your own research before you pull much current out of that. Since I'm only pulling 12 volts and, like I said, 50 milliamps, I'm not concerned about stressing whatever that is that it's coming from. Anyway, hope this helps.